I make friends everywhere I go. And I don't mean just meeting people, I mean purposefully making connections with people and acting on them, taking them from that initial meeting to going and seeing them somewhere else and getting to know those person. It turns out my whole family does the same thing. And apparently this is unusual because it sounds like a lot of people out there just don't have that thing where they continue to meet people as adults. Sure, as a kid, it's easy. You're out there and you see another kid running around playing. You're like, hey, you want to be friends? You're like, cool, let's go smash some trucks together or go down the slide. Whatever, it's easy. Adults, a little bit different. We've got some insecurities, we've got some shyness, and we've got some just feeling we don't want to get rejected by anyone. So it gets a whole lot harder as you get older. Supposedly, I don't think that this is the case, but we'll talk about that a bit further. Now, if you want to make more friends and have more fun in your life without wasting time, especially wasting time on people who just don't appreciate you or don't put in the effort to make that same friendship that you really want, well, you can grab your free life map below and I'll coach you for 28 days on how to design, build, and live a life that you absolutely love. Now, on the weekend, I was at the beach at a salsa dancing event. That's something that I do and I really enjoy it. A guy there was running a free class and I jumped in so I could learn a few things because I'm always trying to learn little bits and pieces here and there, but I also love meeting the people in the class. And any excuse to meet new people is a good excuse for me. So that's great. When I was taking a break after the class, I actually saw the guy who ran it earlier, and I went up to him and I introduced myself. I thanked him for the class that he ran. I said I really enjoyed it, and I had a quick chat talking to him about how business was going, and he said, yeah, it's okay, not so great, but it's going okay. This is someone that I didn't know. I only really met him that first time there, but we're already talking about something that we're both interested in. So later that week, I decided to go to one of the classes that he runs because that was something I was interested in. It happened to be at the time that it worked for me. So I went up and I had a quick chat with him and like, hey man, great to see you the other day. What's going on with your business? Like, what do you need? How could I help you with what's going on there? And, we had a great chat about what's going on and some of the issues that he's having. I'm like, okay, fantastic. Well, look, I can help you with a lot of that. I'm used to dealing with a lot of these problems and whatever. Let me know when's a good time and we'll come and hang out. We'll have a look into some of these business issues that you're having, and that's it. Now, I didn't think too much of it because it just comes out of my mouth naturally. I didn't think anything of it. It was just an invitation to help somebody. Not asking for money, just somebody that has already given me value. I'm happy to go and return the favor. So I didn't think about making friends with him on the day. I didn't think about making friends with him at all. It just happened because of me exploring the interests that I have and thanking someone for who it is. I went and caught up with the guy, helped him with some business stuff, great conversation, and we started a friendship from there. Now, this might sound a bit foreign to some of you, or it might just sound like it's too easy, or it's maybe you think it's just, that's too hard, I could never do that. But here's a few ways that you can start going and putting these things into your life so that you can make some more friends as an adult. First of all, go to places where you're going to find people who are interested in the same things that you are. Because if you're already interested in the same things as that person, you've got something to talk about. When you're in a different environment, a environment where you don't really know anyone, where you're a bit of a fish out of water, maybe you're at a pub and okay, you've got drinking in common or live music in common. There's a lot less in common than turning up to a dance class with other people who also like dancing. You've already got something to be able to talk about. Or turning up to a basketball pickup game where you already love basketball. The other guys are there. You already have that common interest. So find places where people already have the same interests that you are, and you'll find it's way easier to have conversations. And that's step one. Number two, say hi to people and give them compliments. Genuine compliments on something. Now, let's go back to the basketball one because that's really easy. you say hi to all the guys who are there. It's like, oh, love the shoes you got. Oh, that's a sick jersey that you're wearing. Where did you get that particular basketball from, or whatever? It's really just recognizing something that you think is cool or interesting and asking a question that is just an icebreaker, really. It doesn't take much, but these small compliments actually make other people feel good because, believe it or not, people are not used to hearing compliments. It is not something that happens that often. If you can be that person that can deliver compliments really quickly and easily, you're going to find that you are going to get that click with someone so much faster. It makes them happy, and it makes you stand out in their eyes as someone with something special, just because that's unusual. Someone who's interested is interesting. So you being interested in other people makes you interesting to the people that are in front of you. Number 3, find some common ground. Doesn't matter what it is. You might have to dig through a little bit of small talk until you can get to that point, but small talk, that's where you find your common ground. Now, a really easy way to start with small talk if you're not good at it, and this is coming from someone who wasn't good at it, this is exactly what I used. An acronym called FORM. FORM. Family, occupation, recreation, and mission. There are 4 things right there that you can talk to somebody about. Hey, how many brothers and sisters do you have? Do you have a good relationship with hanging out with your parents? Or occupation, what do you do for work? What are you doing during the day? Are you studying? Are you whatever? Recreation, what do you do outside of basketball or outside of whatever this thing is we are right now? What do you do for fun? What did you do on the weekend? And then mission, what are you doing with your life? What do you really want to do? Where are you going? Just knowing those sort of things and knowing those questions, having that in the back of your mind when you're talking to someone allows you to fill the gaps if you find the conversation gets stuck. Because you might be a better conversationalist than the other person and you might not be that great at conversation. Now, I'm talking from my own experience. I was terrible at small talk, so I had to actively remember that FORM acronym and try and work through that when I got stuck. And I would always get stuck. But you get to a point where you don't even think about that anymore. I don't think about asking those basic questions. In fact, generally, I don't ask people about their family or their occupation. I will ask them about their recreation or their mission, what they're doing, where they're going, because I find them far more interesting. But I'll try and ask them in really interesting ways rather than a very generic, oh, what do you do? Did you have fun on the weekend? Yes, no. See, yes, no answers are never really good for finding common ground anyway. Try and ask questions that have open-ended answers. You're always going to get so much more out of that. The difference between a question like, did you have fun on the weekend? Yes or no is the answer. What fun things did you do on the weekend? That is now an open-ended answer where someone might tell you about something cool that they did that was cool to them. It may or may not be cool to you, but it doesn't matter. It's about getting them engaged and excited in the conversation. So let's go number 4, and this is a trickier one. Make plans to meet up outside of wherever it is right now. It could be as simple as going for a drink after whatever that activity is, going for coffee, meeting them at the same sort of event at another place. And yeah, okay. What's the next step after that is get their contact details, because it's all well and good to be able to say make plans, but you also want to be able to follow through on that, because people forget or people flake out on you, or some people are really not actually that interested and they're just being polite. So getting contact details, really important. Now, this day and age, there are so many different ways to contact people that some people won't want to give you their phone number. And if you only like dealing with phone numbers and they want to contact you through Messenger or email or whatever, it's best to be flexible and go with whatever they are comfortable with. If you are too firm in the way that they want to communicate with you, you're going to find that you're going to have less opportunities for people to actually communicate, because you might just go, oh, that's too hard, don't even worry about it, whatever, and that interaction's over and nothing ever comes of it. Now, maybe you don't want 17 different apps on your phone for messaging people, and I get it. I am much the same. But generally, there are some main ones that people are happy using, and it might be contacting you through your phone number, but it could also be through Facebook Messenger or Instagram. It could be through email, or it could be through whatever else. Figure out what they're most happy to give you in terms of contact details, and work with them on the level of communication that they're most happy with. You're trying to make them comfortable, especially in the early stages. If people are uncomfortable in the early stages, they're less likely to follow through on actually going and meeting up. So the next step is to actually do the meetup. Generally, with people that I have only just met, I like to confirm on the day, even not that far before the event, just to make sure, hey, you're still cool to catch up on this? Hey, you still good to be able to meet me at this time? That just allows you to, again, reach out and just make sure that everything's going to happen. Because the last thing you want is to show up, you haven't made any contact since that first thing. It was like, oh yeah, we could do that. And then you rock up and then you're sitting there by yourself, nothing happens. And you see them the next time, it's like, oh, hey man, I was at the place, where we were going to meet, and oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot about it, or I just got busy and I didn't have your number, I couldn't contact you or whatever. Doesn't work. So if you can just confirm with them beforehand, it just makes it a whole lot easier. You send them a message, oh no, sorry, I'm busy, I can't do that. Can we postpone till next week? Or whatever. It takes a little bit. But if you can get to that first meetup point, that first one-on-one meetup point, you've got a chance on being able to make that into something more of a friendship or a business relationship or a romantic relationship or whatever it is. It really doesn't matter. But you've got to get that first initial meeting dialed in first. Now, when you're there, you don't need to talk about all of the different things. So a lot of dating turns into what sounds like a job interview. That's a boring conversation for most people to have. The most interesting conversations I have are just talking shit about nothing. All right? You're just letting the conversation flow to wherever it is, and you find out whatever you find out about. If you have a good conversation with somebody, then they're more likely to want to have a good conversation with you again, because they leave having had a good time, you leave having had a good time. It doesn't feel like some structured or some pre-prepared conversation. It is literally just a couple of people hanging out and seeing if there's some common ground. So try and keep the conversation light when you first meet them. Maybe even keep it short, so you're only spending an hour there, hour and a half, maybe not going any further than that. I find for me, if it's like an hour and a half is generally my limit with most people, even friends. If it goes longer than that because it's just naturally flowing, fantastic. You're probably at a good space. But make sure you can wrap it up in a good way. It's like, hey, look, I've got to go and I've got to head off to this thing. Let's do this again sometime. I'll be in touch with you over the next week or whatever it is. And that leads us to our final point, which is stay in touch. You've made that first initial thing. Invite them out to something else. Invite them out to something else again. They might not be able to go to everything that you invite them to, especially in the early stages. But even if you were to give them 3 invitations before they turned up to the next thing, it's like, hey man, I've been so busy being able to do anything. Thanks for being persistent, because I really enjoyed hanging out with you. I'm really happy that we've got some time to be able to hang out again. Don't dismiss it as, they've flaked out on me because I invited them out a second time and they just, didn't do anything. All right? Sometimes that's going to happen, and that's fine. You're not going to win 100% of the time. That's just not how it works. So don't really worry about the end result, but just work on, hey, you want to do this thing? Hey, do you want to do this thing? Do you want to do this thing? Be persistent with it. There might be a point where you have to just let go and be like, cool, walk away. If they're not really interested in becoming friends with me, then there's probably no point pushing and putting my energy out there, giving them my energy if they don't want to reciprocate. Remember, friendship is a two-way street. So if you are trying to make friends, try and make friends with people who actually want to make friends with you. Which, again, sounds easier said than done, because at the initial stages, you just don't know. But after that first time that you've met up with them, you've probably got a good idea if they like spending time with you and you like spending time with them, and if there is some sort of future in it for you. So the biggest difference between having friends and not having friends is as little as saying hi, finding some common ground, and then wanting to hang out. That's it. That's as much as it is. Much like I said at the very start. Two kids meet at the park. Hey, do you want to play trucks? Yep, sweet. And then they hang out. The end. That's it. All you got to do is treat it like you would as if you were a kid. You're not going to win all the time. There might be some rejection involved. That's just the way it goes. But nothing's going to happen if you don't try. So put a little bit of effort in. Be the person that extends the hand and says, hey, you're cool, want to hang out. See what happens. You will find that your life will open up and you will make more friends than you can imagine. Look, I've not always been this person, so it might sound weird. You're like, oh, that's easy for you to say. I was like, well, actually, it's not, because I was a shy kid in my school and I was terrible at this. But I've just worked my whole life at trying to get better at this, and now I'm really good at this. And guess what? I did all of those things I spoke to you about, and I continue to do all of those things that I'm speaking to you about right now, because that's what works. Now, if you need more help going through this, making friends, and trying to just get your life to be a little bit more full and enjoyable and exciting, and actually starting to do the things that you want to do more often and not doing the things that you don't want to do quite so much, well, I've got a free 28-day coaching program that you can join. So if you click the link below, you can grab my life map and start to stack these skills on top of each other where you build your life into a life that you really want. Hope to see you there. Talk to you on the inside.